You're very welcome along to the Matchbook Football Podcast. We're back after a couple of weeks off. I'm your host, Daniel Hussey, joined by Mark O'Haire and Adrian Clarke, just in time for the Champions League round of 16, which kicks off some brilliant games. The 5 games, incidentally, we'll be covering today. PSG versus Liverpool, Club Brugge or Brugge, depends which way you want to call it, versus Aston Villa, PSV versus Arsenal, the Madrid derby, no less, and then Bayern versus Bayer Leverkusen. And before we get going and I bring the lads in, just a reminder to like and subscribe wherever you're watching or listening, insights.matchbook.com for a full recap, and also to check out our offer that we currently have going at the moment. You can see it on screen. If you're watching on YouTube, it's pod50, so that's pod £50. Enter the code pod50 when signing up and you get £50 worth of free bets when you bet £50. Full T's and C's are available on screen. You can see them there, but also check out the matchbook.com, the Matchbook Betting Exchange, and invariably will be best odds on all the games we'll be covering on the exchange prices, but you also have the benefits of a sports book as well with the bet builder. So a nice mix from Mark and Adrian. And guys, I'm feeling refreshed. I hope you guys are too, for a busy end of the season. Trust me on that. Just having a quick look at the schedule this morning, but we will start with PSG versus Liverpool and take a look at the betting that we currently have on matchbook.com. You can get back PSG at a 248 in the 90-minute market, with Liverpool 288. The draw is 385. Both teams to score, yes, 151. The Asian handicap line sees effectively a draw no bet market. PSG Favs at 186, and the total for this game currently stands at 3.5 unders, 167. So Mark, we'll start with you. Welcome back. It does seem ages since we've done one of these podcasts, but I guess you're excited to have the Champions League back properly now. We have the round of 16, so all the good teams are back in.
Yeah, I mean, what a draw. As you read out the games we're going to cover, it really sort of whets the appetite. Really looking forward to it. And what a reward for Liverpool, by the way, for finishing top of the league phase. PSG. So that's worked out quite nicely for them. I guess the positive is they've got the second leg at Anfield, and that will be an advantage. But this is a tough assignment, particularly going to Paris. They at least got the opportunity to rest at the weekend after what's been a really intense past fortnight for them domestically and across Europe as well. But in fairness to Liverpool, they've passed almost every test. Whenever you sort of start to doubt them or try and pick holes in their season or their recent form, they do sort of bounce back and remind you how and sort of why they are the strongest team in the Premier League right now. The title race is all wrapped up now. It gives them a real opportunity to focus on Europe as well as the EFL Cup as well. But, you know, PSG are in a similar boat too. And in fact, they've come on very impressively in the past few months. They were pretty limp and impotent at Arsenal in the league phase earlier this season. They were sort of overpowered and overawed at Bayern Munich. And for a good 45 minutes against Man City, they're down and out in the competition as a whole, but they've recovered really well. And they're in a very good place right now. I just wonder whether it's a year too early for PSG. They are a very young squad, quite a new team sort of coming together. It's working well for them right now. They've won 10 on the spin, unbeaten in 22 across all comps, but they don't have the sort of previous scars of PSG teams, but there is a bit of youthful exuberance about them, confidence as well coming into this game as well. You know, they were 4-0 up at half-time against Lille on Friday night, and that's not an easy task at all. Luis Enrique said it was a decent dress rehearsal for this match with similarities he felt between Lille and Liverpool. They pressed them really high, suffocated them as soon as possession was turned over, and they've got the quality in forward areas to really hurt teams and make opponents pay. And this will be difficult for Liverpool, make no doubt about that. But this is a Liverpool side who've lost 4 times in 43 under Slot, at Plymouth when they didn't have a first team, at PSV when they didn't pick a first team. So it's really only 2 defeats across the whole campaign. That EFL Cup semi-final first leg at Spurs and against Forest earlier in the season too. So you know, they are very capable of sort of continuing that record here. I've no doubt about that as well. So it just makes it quite a difficult game, I felt, to have a really strong view on. So I'm going to sit on the fence here because the draw at 385 is the biggest price of the 3 in the match odds market. And I'm quite surprised by that, in fairness. If I wanted to be strong on PSG or Liverpool, I definitely want to have the draw on side with either of those picks. So the market makes PSG, 250-ish to win this game, which means they would be outsiders on a neutral venue, which I think is fair and understandable. But I think the first leg in Paris is a bit of a leveller. And I don't think Liverpool will be too fussed about taking a sort of draw back to Anfield either. So, yeah, I just thought the draw at 385 was too big when there's 2 very informed teams who are well capable of winning this match. So, you know, sitting on the fence, but I think the price is nice.
Yeah, it is set up nicely. Adrian, it's similar to what Mark said. The draw does seem a bit of a runner, just given both teams would probably take it before the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if a PSG would take it because, anyone going to Anfield wants to be ahead, I think, especially given Liverpool's record there, not just this season, but through the years. It's a really tough draw for both clubs, isn't it? Not much reward for Liverpool, I've got to say. PSG, outside of Liverpool, got to be right up there as one of the most informed teams on the continent, haven't they? I mean, absolutely flying. Not lost since November, 8 wins and 2 draws at home during that period. I was just looking at it, not too many clean sheets in there. Both teams to score has landed in 7 of those 10 unbeaten home matches since November. So they do concede goals, but boy, do they score lots. I mean, across the last 10, home and away, 39 goals. Averaging nearly 4 goals a game. It's crazy. Gavac, Kelly, I can't say his name, Dembele and Barcola. I mean, that's unlocked the team, hasn't it? It's been a fantastic forward line. The rest of the team is they're all hardworking, which is unlike the past where they sort of had to carry passengers in forward areas. So they're a much better team. They beat City, remember, 4-2 at home. Come back from 2-0 down. So, look, this is a really, really hard game for Liverpool. I can't call it because I've been saying all season that Liverpool aren't that amazing, but I'm going to have to stop doing it because, their record is phenomenal. It's absolutely outstanding. And I did think in the match against Manchester City, Liverpool really showed their class. I mean, Salah was brilliant, but it was a very dominant win. And they showed it was a title winning performance. And if they do that in Paris, they'll probably win the game. But I have seen cracks in Liverpool, even though they haven't always been punished. And I do think the PSG are good enough to maybe sort of expose 1 or 2 of those cracks. But I'm not going to back PSG. I can't go against Liverpool at the moment. So I'm going to go with both teams. I'm going to do a little bet builder. Both teams' score is going to form part of it. As I said, lots of times that lands in home games for PSG. For Liverpool, they've conceded in 12 of their last 17 away games. So as brilliant as they are, not loads of clean sheets in there. So I think both teams' score is a good runner. And I'm going to do my old favourite and go under 4.5 because these are 2 really smart coaches, Enrique and Slot. I still think pragmatism is sort of part of their fabric, even though both teams score a lot of goals. They like to be organised and set up. 7 of Liverpool's Champions League games this season have gone under 4.5. Less so for PSG, have gone a bit crazy at times. But I think in this game, 2 good teams colliding, there's not going to be a lot in it. And I think it'll be, if not cagey, it won't escalate to 5 goals or more. I'm pretty confident of that. So I'm going to go with both teams scoring under 4.5 goals. It comes in, I think, was quite a nice price actually at 2.05 because I just don't see it going 5 or more goals.
Okay, so both teams are scoring its own. It's 1.5. If you want to boost that price, it's just above evens, as Adrian said. Put in the under 4.5 goals. This is going to be our £10 money back special, so I don't have to pick a selection. Combine the 3 guys in a fun one, big price as well. 4.5 draw. Both teams to score under 4.5 goals, essentially back in the 1-all or 2-all there. And do check out if that bet is going to be available on insights.matchbook.com. Just use the bet builder on the matchbook betting exchange. Let's go to the early kickoff on Tuesday. We're going to go in race card order from now on. That was Wednesday night. A Tuesday early kickoff. Club Brugge 3.15 at home to Villa, who are 2.48 favourites, with the draw available at 3.45. Tighter game expected here. Both teams to score 182. The Asian handicap line sees Club Brugge get a quarter goal head start, and the total for this game is 2.5, and unders is actually the favourite there at 189. So Mark, we'll start with you again on this one. Early kickoff, Villa in uncharted territory here. Their domestic form has been mixed, but in the Champions League, they've been quite good. Unai Emery in that sort of club competition mode this season, perhaps?
Maybe. I sat on the fence in that first game a little bit, but I'm more excited about this because I'm quite keen to get Club Brugge on side, actually. I think they're They're unreasonable outsiders here at the prices. What are they? 3.15 to win the game. I think that does them a little bit of a disservice. So we can back them with a quarter goal start around about 185, where only a Villa win fails to make us money. And I think that's a really nice position to be in for many reasons, actually. Firstly, because of Villa's form away from Villa Park, actually. It's been sketchy for quite some time now. Go back to the start of November, Villa have played 12 games away from home across all comps. They've lost 9 of them. They've won just twice. They've conceded 2 goals or more 9 times and kept just 1 clean sheet, which was away at Sean Dyche's Everton side. During that sample, they lost 1-0 at Brugge. Came in comical fashion, if you remember, Tyrone Mings' handball leading to the penalty that was the decisive goal. But Brugge were much better all round that day. They won the shots on target count 7-1, hit the woodwork, reduced Villa to 0.4 expected goals. It was a fine performance from a team I think have really kind of grown into the competition and become much more confident in their own skin. They started the campaign looking to almost replicate what they do domestically, and they were found out pretty quickly. The 3-0 at home to Dortmund on match day 1 wasn't a fair reflection, though, on where Brugge are. They played really well that day. It just didn't work for them. But they've since shifted to a much more sort of pragmatic approach. They're organised. They're able to soak up pressure, restrict high-quality chances, but then have that sort of knockout blow in the final third where they attack you with transitions and counter-attacks. And it's caused teams all sorts of problems. Man City managed the only side in the last 7 Champions League games to score more than once against them. They're giving up just 1.1 goals per game in that sample, despite facing City, Atalanta twice, Juventus, Sporting and Aston Villa. But that tie against Atalanta, home and away, I thought was incredibly impressive, the way in which they managed themselves, so composed, so confident, so efficient. And I think they're the qualities that Villa will find difficult to deal with in Bruges. I mean, you can look at Unai Emery and think he's a real ace up Villa's sleeve here. No doubt about it, his penchant for sort of knockout football. But his record on the road with Villa in Europe even hasn't been the greatest. Go back to the Conference League knockout stages last season. Drew with Ajax and lost to Lille and Olympiacos. Doesn't feel a huge amount of confidence going away from home at sort of 250 quotes here. So, I've no question Villa can and may well progress from this tie overall. But the first leg in Belgium, I think, is quite a trappy affair, actually. And I'd want to have the home side onside with the start. They've lost just once in 17 home games, failed to score just once in the last 35 matches, home or away. Beaten Villa, beaten Sporting, beaten Atalanta, held Juventus here. And even, as I say, that 3-0 defeat to Dortmund on match day 1 is a massive red herring. They were excellent that night. And I think they're more than capable of getting something out of this first leg tie. So Club Brugge with a quarter goal start for me.
Okay, yeah, Adrian, that's a confident show from Mark. Do you share those concerns on Unai Emery's Villa this season going into this game?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything Mark said. Yeah, I kind of looked at this selection as well because Villa's away form. It's definitely, they're definitely fallible on their travels. Obviously, since that draw at Arsenal, really Arsenal shouldn't have drawn that game, but since then they've lost 3 in a row away, and I do think the one at Palace was quite alarming in terms of the way they shipped the goals. So, yeah, they're going to have to be much better. I've rewatched the highlights of the Brugge Villa game from earlier in the season, and it was a good even game. Brugge got stronger and stronger the longer that game went on. Villa got worse. Both teams did manufacture chances, but Brugge were good value, even though the goal was farcical. And harsh, in my opinion. I think use some common sense, referee. He clearly didn't think that was a goal kick that he picked up. But there you go. It's gone now. But no, this is a really hard game. Hard game for Aston Villa, no doubt about it. I mean, they always seem to score, Brugge. They've scored in 8 of their last 9 games in this competition. Not many times they're scoring more than 2 goals, though. It's not happened at all in the last 12 Champions League matches for Brugge. So, I wouldn't expect them to blow Villa away here. And remember, Villa are doing well going forward. They're scoring goals. Obviously, Watkins is in decent form. Rashford and Asensio have definitely given the team an uplift. Rodgers has even had a little breather here and there with Bailey coming in. So I think Rodgers will play in this game. So, they are capable, I think, of doing better than they did last time in terms of scoring at least a goal here. But I don't fancy them to keep a clean sheet. They haven't done much of that on their travels. And they're still a little bit depleted, aren't they, in defence? I think Matty Cash might be back for this one, but I think they're quite weak defensively. I was looking at a stat, actually. Emi Martinez has prevented 4.4 extra goals in the Champions League than Villa should have conceded. They should have conceded 10.4 according to XG. It was only 6, and a lot of that's down to the brilliance of Emi Martinez. So, yeah, I think Brugge will definitely fancy their chances of getting a goal. I am going to sit on the fence. I'm going to do a Mark O'Haire here. And I'm going to say that I'm going to pick the draw. It's a big price for obvious reasons. And I'm going to go both teams to score in there as well. 5 of Brugge's last 6 in the Champions League have seen BTTS land. 7 of Villa's 9 games in this competition this season have seen both teams to score land. And I think that they can land a blow, at least one blow each on one another ahead of an exciting second leg at Villa Park. So, yeah, a little bit of a long shot here, really. At 4.5, I'm going to go with draw and both teams to score.
Yeah, so 2 big prices put up in the first 2 games. We'll go for the safe option with Club Brugge on the Asian handicap line at +1/4 at 186. But yeah, Adrian's selection is available and will be available. Just search Matchbook Insights if you do want a full recap, even while you're listening or watching the show. PSV versus Arsenal. We'll look at the betting here. This is 8 o'clock Tuesday. And we'll go to Adrian first once we go through prices, which is PSV 3-1 on the Matchup Betting Exchange. That's 4.0. Arsenal 2-0. 8 favourites with the draw at 3.6. Both teams to score. Again, closer game. 189 is the yes here. Asian handicap line sees PSV effectively get double chance plus half a goal at 1.9. The total here, 2.5 unders again, favoured 1.9. So yeah, a couple of old school games between the Brugge Villa game and the PSV Arsenal game in terms of the goal line, Adrian. I mean, in some ways, I look even on those match odds, I think Arsenal a good price. And other ways I look at Arsenal, maybe not a good price. It's tough to get your head around where Arsenal are at and what team maybe perhaps will be picked.
For sure. Yeah, I do think it's a tricky first leg. I do. It's PSV aren't in good form. You have to say that first and foremost. They've won 1 of 7 games in 2025. So actually, you know, the sort of the way they got through in the playoff is sort of almost goes against their league. I'm talking about their league form, by the way. Their league form is really average by their obviously high standards. They're 8 points behind Ajax now in the domestic league. Only 1 clean sheet in the last 11 in Eredivisie as well. So that points towards the side that might concede goals. We know what PSV are about. They will press you hard. They will try and have the ball and hurt you because they're really attack-minded under Peter Bosz. And I think that they will do that to Arsenal. I don't think they'll suddenly go into their shell and play a different way. I think they'll look to be really aggressive and hostile and put Arsenal under a lot of pressure. Thankfully, Arsenal have proven pretty solid throughout this season. Lowest expected goals against per game on average in the whole competition, 0.73 per 90. They've had the fewest shots on target, just 2.4. Against on target per game. So yeah, it's Arsenal are well equipped to maybe handle the PSV test, but who's going to score the goals? That's the problem. I mean, you're looking at Ethan Nwaneri, aren't you, at the moment, to really sort of come up trumps. I thought they played very well, Arsenal at Forest. I thought it was a good team performance until the box, and I think they're capable of producing a similar performance against PSV, but will they get a goal or not? You know, hopefully they will. But it's a hard one to back, isn't it? It's so limited at the moment. And look, even when Arsenal have had more attackers available, they haven't been free scoring away. 5 of their last 6 games in all competitions have gone under 2.5 goals as well. So I want to oppose goals is the long and short of it. PSV, even though they're so attacking, they'll find it harder against Arsenal, no doubt about it. I'm going to go with under 2.5 goals, and I'm going to support Arsenal here and go Arsenal double chance with it because of PSV's slightly indifferent domestic form. They played very well, we know, against Juventus to go through, but you know, you can't just turn it on and off just like that. And they're clearly not clicking as well as they perhaps could at the moment. So I'll back Arsenal to get a draw or maybe nick a low-scoring win here. If you put it all together, under 2.5, an Arsenal double chance, it's 2.3.
Okay, and that 2.3 mark is a jump from the 1.9 on under 2.5 goals on their own, which you're happy to take, which means I'm guessing even more doubts on that Arsenal attack than Adrian.
Yeah, I think you have to be concerned. 3 blanks in the last 4 now. Sort of state the obvious, but take out those 4 players of Saka, Martinelli, Havertz, and Gabriel Jesus, and it's no real surprise that they perhaps struggled for goals. Those 4 have contributed 23 of their 51 Premier League goals this season, which is 45%. And if you look at the XG, it's 20.7 cumulative XG between the 4 of Arsenal's 41.2, which is 50% of Arsenal's overall league expected goals tally unavailable. I know this is a different competition, but it just kind of highlights what's missing at the minute. And I'm sure you guys will probably agree at times it's looked pretty uninspiring from open play what Arsenal have been trying to produce across the whole season. Even with those 4 available, they're down in 9th in terms of expected goals from open play in the Premier League. That drops to 10th and just an average of 0.91 XG from open play away from home in the Premier League. So that is a concern if you're reliant on dead ball situations to try and win you matches. We do know that the defence is standing up to the test for the most part, and I sort of agree with almost everything Adrian said about this game too. It's a tricky one, and I wouldn't be rushing to back Arsenal at sort of anything below sort of 220 here. It does feel like a bit of a banana skin game. I know PSV are in poor form, eliminated in the Dutch Cup last midweek by Go Ahead Eagles at home, their first home defeat since November 2022, which is an astonishing record in itself. But they lost again to the same opposition at the weekend. But I oppose them at home to Juventus in the playoff round. I thought Juve with a plus a quarter start in Eindhoven was a nice position to be in, but they really sort of stepped up to the mark that night, proved their ability to turn it on in Eindhoven. And that home record commands respect. They're unbeaten in 15 home European games now, winning 10 of those. That includes a draw against Arsenal here in 2023. They've scored in every home game since January 2023. 1 home defeat, as I said now, since November 2022. They can be quite kamikaze. That's just Peter Bosch and his side. That's just how he rolls, really. Defensively, they're not the most trustworthy. But as you say, you've got to balance it out between a side who can't really defend and a side who can't really score at the minute. And I don't know, I kind of looked at this game, and Arsenal have become a bit of an unders team recently. 5 of the last 7 under, 12 of 18 away in the Premier League and Champions League under. I know this is a different competition, but the second half against West Ham, there was almost a resignation about how the game was going, and almost a team that just feels a bit too sorry for themselves at times as well. And you really sort of want to sort of get someone to sort of drag them and sort of remind them that they're still in, or they still were in the title race at that particular moment, and they've still got an opportunity to win a trophy this season. So I don't know, PSG will sort of fly in the face of that. They will be confident, they will be aggressive and in the face, but at the end of the day, this is the first leg of a knockout tie with one very strong defensive unit playing away from home. So I don't think unders is the worst angle of attack here in that sort of environment.
Get Adrian Clarke in that dressing room. Shake them up a bit, Adrian. Tell them the Champions League's still on.
No, it's a big game for Arsenal. It's huge. It's this season, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. It comes down to the Champions League. I expect high motivation, but what I saw at the City ground was a big step up from the West Ham performance, where it was strange. It was a strange atmosphere. It wasn't a good performance. Arsenal just did feel sorry for themselves in that game for whatever reason. Against Forest, I thought Arsenal made Forest look like a lower mid-table team. I think absolutely controlled the game. And I thought the sharpness was there. I thought that individuals played better. They just lacked punch in and around the box. They should still have scored 2 or 3 goals. So yeah, I think Arsenal are still the class team out of the 2, aren't they? They should prevail. I think they're good enough to go there and get a result, but it won't be easy. They'll have to play every bit as well as they did at Forest to come away with the result that I'm tipping.
Okay, let's lean Mark's way and under 2.5 goals. You can back that on the match with Betting Exchange. Best price out there, and I'll check your grid at time recording 1.9, so very close to 10 to 11 there. And let's go to the Madrid derby. I mean, some of these games are just brilliant, even just leaving out the English sides. I mean, this is unbelievable game. Real Madrid 194, Atlético 7-2 in the match with Betting Exchange, or 4.5 with the draw, 11-4. That's 3.75 on Matchbook. Both teams to score, yes, 188. The Asian handicap line is double chance market effectively for Atlético. That is at 204, and the goal line is 2.5. Again, under is 196. Adrian, back to you on this. To continue the theme, it's nice to see the 2.5s there, and it's nice seeing unders being tipped up, etc. There's more goals in Atletico this year, isn't there? I mean, they're definitely a more team going forward. I feel this is a little bit priced up to Diego Simone's past, maybe rather than present, or will they just sit in here?
Maybe, yeah. No, they've been involved in some great games, haven't they? Some high-scoring games, particularly when they've been away. Yeah, they've been involved in some crackers. Wasn't there a 4-4 recently as well, Barcelona?
Barca.
Yeah, some great games. But it's the Madrid derby. See loads of those go crazy, do you? There's a lot of 1-allers in there. There's a lot of 1-0ers down the years. I don't think this one's going to be a crazy first leg. I think it's going to be quite tight. Atletico will go with confidence. I think they'll back themselves. Last 3 times they've gone to the Bernabeu, they haven't lost. They've drawn. So that will give them belief. I mean, in the meeting earlier on this season, it was 9 shots to 1 on target for Real Madrid. So maybe, rode their luck a little bit. Last year, Real were a minute away from getting a 1-0 win, conceded right at the end. And then I think the year before, depleted Real Madrid still bossed the shot on target count 7-1. So, I think that those 3 draws look great for Atletico, but over the piece, maybe Real Madrid deserve to win at least a couple of them. And this is their competition, isn't it? And, you know what they're like. When they get to the knockout stages, they turn it on, Real Madrid. We've seen that over and over. And in particular, players like Kylian Mbappe, I mean, his record in the knockout stages is insane, isn't it? I think, 24 goals and 3 assists in the knockout stages from Mbappe. Hat-trick against Manchester City. He loves these kind of occasions. So even though I think this is a really even tie and Atletico have a chance, I've got to side with Real Madrid here. Just Real Madrid and under 4.5 goals is my angle. I do think that at home at the Bernabeu, that they take some beating. They have had a couple of losses, obviously, earlier in the season. I think Milan went there, didn't they, and won. So they're not as infallible as they have been maybe in the past. But I sense that they just, I know that they lost at the weekend as well. Maybe that would do them a favour. It would just sort of refocus them ahead of this big test. I just sense that they'll win. They'll edge a tight game here and take it to the Wanda Metropolitano, where Atletico are more than capable of turning it around. They've got goal scorers. We know that with Griezmann and Alvarez, who's had a good Champions League campaign. But this is Real Madrid. It's Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo. It's the knockouts of the Champions League. I think this is where they tend to turn up. So I'm gonna back Real Madrid here to win and under 4.5 goals because it's a Madrid derby. I don't see it going crazy. So that 1.92 was it on Real Madrid to win? You can get 2.34 on them to win, and there'll be less than 5 goals, which is how I see it.
Okay, yeah, that's the jump from, I think it's around 196 of them to 234 if you include the under 4.5 goals. Mark, has Adrian taken some of the lead out of your balloon on some of those previous draws, or where was the straw bet coming from here?
From a variety of reasons, really. He's right. Yeah, Real Madrid are always the aggressors in this tie. They're always the better side in this tie. But how often do they actually beat Atletico? Not often. And look, I'm probably one of the few people who wasn't that excited by this particular draw. I hate kind of matches between teams from the same country in European competition. We'll get to another one shortly, which I'm much more excited about. But this one is played so often. It's hard to be enthused about it again. It's the 10th meeting between the two since September 2022. But 7 of the last 8 between the two have been drawn. I do think a repeat is potentially on the line here at 3.7. I think that's a nice price to cheer on. It's the match that neither, or a tie that neither of these teams wanted, especially Real Madrid. And I do think it's a lot closer than the odds suggest. Atleti do have a habit of being or just making life tough for their rivals, and they've shown this season and previous campaigns that they're capable of I wouldn't say outsmarting, but just producing what's required to get a result against Real Madrid. And it's fascinating in that sense because Simeone is such a smart tactician, always thinking of the minor details, very pragmatic by nature, but has released the shackles a bit in the last 18 months or so. He's always aware of his opponents' weaknesses as well as their strengths, and he will set his team up accordingly. So, yeah, don't expect Atletico to be going hell for leather here in the first leg. They will be happy to sit in and suffer for the most part. Whereas Real Madrid and Ancelotti are quite open in the fact that tactics aren't at the forefront of their approach. They're much happier to just kind of survive on vibes and see how it goes. And it's been working pretty well for them for quite some time. But I do think Atletico can nullify Real's strengths. They'll be well aware of them. They won't allow space in behind. They won't give Real Madrid opportunities to counterattack or play in transitions. They'll be happy and quite comfortable to suffer and just put the dog yards in to keep this tie alive for the return leg at the Metropolitano, which gives them a great opportunity to try and progress. And what Atletico have shown this season from themselves is that they do have a forward threat themselves. They can shapeshift. They can chase the game if required. They do have the capability to hurt teams. As Adrian said, they played out an amazing 4-4 draw of Barcelona last midweek. Just a great example of how this team has evolved. Julian Alvarez has had a terrific first season. Griezmann is still there doing his thing. Sorloth is being a pest with his physicality. And then you've got the dark arts of this team too, which are as good as any in world football, really. And it's arguably what turned the tide for them against Leverkusen earlier in the competition. And but this side has now lost just once in 26 across all comps. That was a shock loss at Leganés when they did everything but score. They've already won and drawn at Barcelona. They've already drawn away at Real Madrid. They've won at PSG. They've held Real Sociedad and Villarreal away. They've beaten Athletic Club away, which is a hell of a feat. They're just not an easy team to put away comfortably. So I did look and consider Atletico with a half-goal start here at evens, but with 7 of the last 8 meetings between the two drawn, and if you think Atletico can avoid defeat, they probably will play for a point rather than a draw rather than try and progress with a victory. So the 3.7 stands out to me here as a draw. Real Madrid have only lost twice at the Bernabeu since February 2023. So just backing Atletico to get something out of this game, and the draw looks the obvious play here at the price.
Okay, a lot of draws being put up on the podcast going in line with first legs, maybe a draw, treble or Trixie in there for listeners. You can do multiples on the Matchup Betting Exchange, but we'll lean towards Adrian here, Madrid to win and under 4.5 goals, maybe just about to get it done and set it up for a fascinating second leg. That's 234. Now we'll move on to a game that Mark is looking forward to from teams from the same country. I mean, for what it's worth, I disagree slightly. I do love like Chelsea Arsenal 2003-04, for example, two very tense ties. I do like when the teams from the same country play each other. But game of opinions, Mark, I'll give you your say again in a second. Bayern 184, Leverkusen 4.8, draw is 4.0. Both teams to score in this game is 173. Yes. The Asian handicap line is Leverkusen getting a 3/4 goal head start at 1.9, and the total for this game is 2.5. 182 favorite for the over. So yeah, Mark, takeaway, you are looking forward to this game.
I am. I don't know whether it's because of my bet or what, but I've just really enjoyed Bayern Munich's battles with Bayer Leverkusen since Xabi Alonso came into the hot seat, because Bayern just can't get the better of him. Bayer are unbeaten in 6 against Bayern, but 5 of those have come under Xabi Alonso. This season alone, Leverkusen have knocked Bayern out of the Pokal, completely dominated them in a 0-0 draw not so long ago, where Bayern failed to have a single shot on target, had no shot until the 72nd minute. In fairness, it was a bit of roles reversed in the league game back in late September, when it was quite one-sided in Bayern's favour, but they weren't able to beat Leverkusen in a 1-1 draw. But Bayern just seemed to be a bit of a bogey team for this Bayern side, and still not ready to truly trust Vincent Kompany in a Champions League knockout tie of this magnitude. I think Xabi Alonso has proven himself now well capable of being a wonderful brain and a head coach which is going places really, but still not completely convinced with a Kompany. And it's irrelevant now, but at the time, Bayern played that second leg against Celtic at the Allianz as if they were 4-0 up on aggregate. They were so lackadaisical in that match. Celtic took the game to them, missed so many glaring opportunities. It really could have been a huge shock and embarrassment had they been more clinical in the final third, and that's a worry. I know they responded by thrashing Frankfurt, which looked fantastic on paper, but then Leverkusen went away to Frankfurt at the weekend and did the same. So I'm just not sure the market is completely convinced by Bayern at the minute, and I'm not either. Actually, they drifted to 177 away at Stuttgart on Friday night, as an example. In fairness to them, the home record is formidable. They are 8 points ahead at the top of the table. They do have a frightening array of quality forwards, and this is their playground. We talk about Real Madrid as well, but Champions League knockout nights, this is where Bayern come alive. But I just believe that Leverkusen have the tools to trouble them, whether that's on the field, in Patrick Schick or Florian Wirtz, or over two legs, and in the dugout, actually, with Xabi Alonso. I do think he is a real ace in their card. So I'm going to happy to back Leverkusen here with a 3/4 of a goal start on the Asian handicap. It's 1.9 now on Matchbook Exchange. It just means we'll be paid out should they avoid defeat. But it also means if they lose by exactly 1 goal, we'll get half of our stake returned. So the only way in which we lose our full stake is if Bayern Munich win this match by 2 goals or more. I think that's a tough feat against this Leverkusen side, who have lost only 4 matches since May 2023. They've really found their groove again in recent months after a sticky spell, really, which is understandable, really, considering how amazing their first campaign was under Xabi Alonso. But they're still tough to oust, really, and I think Bayern will find it difficult to beat them comfortably. So happy to have the underdogs on side with a big handicap start.
Okay, that's 1.9 plus 3/4 of a goal on the Asian handicap. Yeah, Adrian, what have you made of Vincent Kompany's Bayern? Good in patches, good going forward, great in domestically to have the Bundesliga seemingly wrapped up, or at least much better than they were this time last year, of course. In Europe, though, they've been defensively vulnerable, and obviously that Celtic performance is a big red flag for me.
Yeah, it wasn't a good performance against Celtic, that is for sure. I expected much more of them, and I do agree with Mark. I think the better coach is Leverkusen's in Xabi Alonso. Vincent Kompany did amazingly, obviously, with Burnley when he got them promoted, but yeah, not so good last year. And yeah, there are definite question marks, I think, around his ability in these huge games to outwit the opposition. That's a definite advantage for Leverkusen, and I think over the 2 legs, I'll probably make them slight favourites, Leverkusen, to dump Bayern out. But that home record is ridiculously good, especially in the Champions League for Bayern Munich. Just to give you an indication, Bayern double chance here is 1.22. Now, the market doesn't think they're getting beat here. They don't think they're losing. That is a very, very short price. So I think for good reason. They've been tight games, haven't they, this season? And I know that Bayern had a terrible game, and they was it 1 shot, none on target, when they met not so long ago against Leverkusen. But you'd like to think they would have learned a thing or two about that. All 3 of their meetings this season have gone under 2.5 goals. There's been a total of 3 goals. They've been tight matches, even though Leverkusen have had the better chances, and they've nullified Bayern very well. They haven't been free scoring affairs, and I think you could probably assume that will happen again because Leverkusen are really good at it. But at least he's in great form. Kane, not such great form, but we know what he's about on this kind of stage. The firepower is ridiculous. You don't need me to list all the names, but Sané and Musiala and etc. They've been here so many times on these kind of nights, and normally get the job done, especially at home. And Leverkusen, let's remember, in the Champions League this season, got spanked at Liverpool, got beaten away at Atlético as well. They've actually won just once away from home in this season's competition. So, yeah, I'm confident that Bayern can avoid defeat here. So I'm going to go double chance. And I'm going to go under 3.5. Could have gone under 2.5 given the recent record between these two sides. But let's just push it out a little bit to under 3.5 goals. Gets a lot of scores, on side. And it comes in at 1.92. I think that's decent value.
Okay, yeah, so the under 3.5 goals is 148-ish as well, so good jump there with the price. Double chance on Bayern, as Adrian mentioned, but I'm going to lean towards Leverkusen plus 3/4 of a goal here. Mark selection on the Matchbook Betting Exchange Asian handicap at 1.9. Matchbook Insights, just search that, or insights.matchbook.com. Full recap of all the guys' picks. we'll move on to any other bets here. So one more from the remaining 3 games. That's you, Adrian. Barcelona double chance and over 2.5 goals away at Benfica. I mean, the draw's opened up for Barcelona this year. This could be something.
Yeah, I wanted Arsenal to be on that side of the draw. I've got to be honest. Is it Inter and Barcelona look the strongest suits, don't they? On that side, this match really stood out to me for a goals angle. Benfica against Barcelona. All 4 of Barca's away games in this season's competition have gone over 2.5 goals. 3 of their 4 have gone over 4.5 goals. I mean, it's been absolute carnage. Obviously, there was a 9-goal thriller in the league phase between these 2 sides. Benfica 4, Barcelona 5. So absolutely crazy. You look at Benfica at home. 4 of the 5 have gone over 2.5 goals. 3 of those have gone over 3.5 goals as well. They've been involved in some real thrillers. They had a big win, didn't they, early on in the season against Atlético, but since then they've lost 5-4 to Barca, lost 3-1 at home to Feyenoord, and drew 3-3 with Monaco. So conceding a lot of goals at the Stadium of Light. And this is a Barcelona side that's absolutely flying, of course. Back on top in La Liga, scoring goals for fun. Just a few more numbers. Barca have scored 3 or more goals in 4 of their 5 away games. Barca have scored 2 or more in 11 of their last 12 away games in all comps, any competition. 11 of the last 12, they've scored at least 2. If they score 2 here, they're not getting beaten, in my opinion. They don't lose. So yeah, Barcelona double chance feels safe if they continue to, if they sort of make the most of Benfica's slightly questionable defence. And over 2.5 goals, thinking about those numbers that I read out, feels very doable, doesn't it? Given what they've both produced in the competition so far. Barca away, goal fests. Benfica at home, goal fests everywhere you look. So yeah, Barca double chance, over 2.5, 1.83.
1.83 there, Barca away to Benfica. Madrid derby for the long shots. Mark, we've landed a couple of these throughout the Champions League. Real Madrid versus Atletico, draw, but you're going to pair it with both teams to score as well to boost the price.
Yeah, made the case for the draw already. 7 of the last 8 meetings have been drawn. But both teams to score has been quite prominent as well between these 2 teams. 5 of those 8 fixtures ended 1-1. That obviously looks the most likely scenario here. But to get it alongside the draw gives it a price of 5.1, which I think is worth cheering on. Obviously got cover there for the 2-2, the 3-3, or even the 4-4, as we saw Atlético play out last midweek, unlikely as it seems. But yeah, each of the last 9 meetings between these 2 teams have seen both teams scoring. It's difficult to imagine Real Madrid not scoring. And Atletico have got the ability in the final third to trouble any defence. And if Real Madrid do have a weakness, it definitely is in defence. So, I think on paper you would look at it and think this is going to be tight, cagey, probably quite ugly. But I do think there is a potential for goals in this game. So both teams to score alongside the draw, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, whatever it is. 5.1, I think it's a nice price to cheer on.
Absolutely. Seems a big price there. Both teams to score and the draw. Feyenoord have just drifted out on the matchup betting exchange to a 6.0, Adrian. So we were just updating the banner there. And that is your underdog of the week, your long shot of the week.
Yeah, look, it's a long shot for a reason. You know, Inter Milan was superb, weren't they, in the league phase? Barely conceded a goal. Didn't always think their performances were amazing, but they were grinding out the results very, very impressively. So it feels strange in a way to back against them here, but Feyenoord just caught my eye at the price. They're the biggest outsiders of all 8 games, home or away. They're the biggest price on the nose, Feyenoord, and I don't know about that. I don't know. This is a team that beat Bayern 3-0 in front of their own supporters not that long ago. They beat AC Milan, knocked them out not so long ago with a 1-0 win at home as well. It is not an easy place to go, the Feyenoord Stadium. And I know that they've got injuries. I know that they're not a side full of household names. I know they've got a new manager in Robin van Persie. You know, is that positive or negative? I mean, for the case of this bet, I'm saying, yeah, new manager bounce, great atmosphere inside the ground, everyone absolutely buzzing. They did draw 0-0 in his first game, which was a bit of a damp squib. But they've got a chance to make immediate amends here. Why then am I opposing Inter? it's because they're not as imperious as they were. They're winless in 4 on the road, which isn't great. Great, is it? Fiorentina put 3 past them recently, which was unusual. They've only scored 8 goals in their last 7 matches into Milan in all competitions. At Napoli in a 1-1 at the weekend, they had only 6 shots. And they're not playing quite as well as they were. Look at the strikers. Marcus Thuram, 1 goal since Christmas. Lautaro Martinez, 1 goal in 6 games. Taremi, the other guy that plays up front sometimes, 1 goal since the start of October. You know, the guys at the top end of the pitch are not in peak form at the moment. So it might only take, 1 or 2 goals from Feyenoord to win this game. And I'm gonna chuck it out there. We'll see. But if you can beat Bayern 3-0, you can beat this version of Inter, in my opinion. So 6.0, you never know.
5.5, 5.75 the sportsbook, 6.0 best industry price on Matchbook. Mark, quick word on that. Have they got a squeak?
Always got a squeak. The 3-0 against Bayern was a bizarre game. They got absolutely battered in that game and somehow managed to win a game 3-0. But I think Inter are much shrewder than both of those two teams, Milan and Bayern. But yeah, it's a big price, and it wouldn't be a huge shock if they did.
No,
Adrian might look like a genius on Thursday morning.
Yeah, land a few of them this season. Best bets, Mark. Both these bets we've covered, guys. But so your best one, Mark, is Brugge on the Asian handicap. You really think that's a standout?
Yeah, I just think they've been given a disservice by the pricing here. Only a Villa win stops us making money. If you back Club Brugge with a quarter goal start, and as I said before, their away record doesn't fill you with confidence at all. 9 defeats in 12, conceding 2 goals in 9 of those 12 games as well, and rarely keeping clean sheets. We know that they've got the quality to beat this Club Brugge side, but I've just been so impressed by the Belgians and the way in which they've evolved throughout this competition and the way in which they managed the 2 legs against Atalanta. The side I'd put on a similar sort of level to Aston Villa, if not higher, was incredibly impressive. So this will not be an easy game for Aston Villa, who I think look a little bit short in the market. So happy to oppose them at the prices.
Okay, Adrian, you're the founding member of the both teams to score on under 4.5 goals angle, and you think PSG Liverpool is the game to attack it this week?
Yeah, I love this one. Obviously, it's formed part of our bet builder earlier on in the show. So stand alone, both teams to score and under 4.5 is 2.05. Both teams to score has landed in 7 of PSG's last 10 home games. So lots of wins, but not that many clean sheets. And Liverpool, as brilliant as they are, they've conceded goals in 12 of their last 17 away games. And look, this PSG front 3 are absolutely on fire. It's a new look front 3, but they're playing excellent football. 39 goals in their last 10 matches. PSG, just nuts, really. In the Champions League alone, their last 5, 21-3 on aggregate. It's impressive. But this is Liverpool they're up against. So I don't know who's going to win. I think it's a really, really hard game to call, to pick a winner from. But I do think that both teams to score because of Salah, Dembele, all of these great forwards. I think that feels right. But under 4.5 also feels right. 7 of Liverpool's 8 in this competition this season have gone under 4.5. The only one that didn't was that crazy game at PSV where really they put the reserve team out. So I think that this, with 2 sensible coaches in Enrique and Slot, I don't see it getting out of hand. But I can see both teams registering goals because their forward lines are absolutely magnificent. So yeah, PSG, Liverpool, both teams to score under 4.5.
A lot of correct scores on side there. My thanks to Mark and Adrian. Thoroughly enjoyed that. 7 out of the 8 games covered on Matchbook, and you can see all the bets insights.matchbook.com. Reminder of our offer at the moment: enter pod50, enter that bonus code, you get £50 in free bets when you bet £50. Particularly busy time of year betting wise, with a lot of going on with Cheltenham Festival. We keep an eye on our social channels for that too, and we did do a lot of Asian handicaps there. There is loads of tweets going out and explaining the Asian handicap markets. Well worth getting involved with them. But my thanks to Mark and Adrian. We'll be back all going well on Thursday to preview a decent Premier League card, including Manchester United versus Arsenal. We'll chat to you then. Bye bye.